In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 8 biggest retirement planning mistakes I see people make in their 50s and exactly how you can avoid them so you can stay in control of your future and not get caught off guard. Because here's what I've learned working with clients facing this exact situation. Your 50s aren't just another decade, they're the make or break years for your retirement. Every financial decision you make after 50 carries twice the impact because you've got less time to recover from mistakes. And those mistakes can cost you years of freedom later on. So let's start with the first one. Mistake number one, expecting to work until your official retirement age. Let me share something that shocks almost every client I sit down with. You know how we all plan to work until 65 or 67? Well, here's the reality check. Nearly half of Americans never make it there. In fact, 47% of retirees end up leaving the workforce earlier than they planned, and not because they hit the lottery or decided to live on the beach early. It's usually because life threw them a curveball they never saw coming. Health issues, having to take care of an elderly family member, or company downsizing. Think about what an early forced retirement really means for your money. If you've been targeting 67 but suddenly need to stop working at 62, you're getting hit with a double financial whammy, right? 5 fewer years of building your nest egg, plus 5 extra years of pulling money out of it. That's why I tell everyone, even if you love your job and plan to work forever, build your financial plan assuming you might need to retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you think. Create that financial runway now because when you reach your 60s, the freedom to choose when you stop working might be the greatest luxury of all. If you make it to 67, still happily employed, fantastic. That's great, but you'll be there because you want to be, not because you're financially trapped. Mistake number two, taking too much risk or taking too little risk. At this point, some people realize that time is running out and they start to think, I need to catch up with saving for retirement and fast. So they end up doing one of two things: take too much risk and swing for the fences, going all in on a couple stocks or crypto, or they go ultra conservative, sell everything and take no risk, moving everything into cash or CDs. One of these, you are basically gambling and can lose everything, and the other, you can be missing out on decades of growth. The truth is, you're not playing a 5 year game here. You're still playing a 30, 40 year game. If you're 55 today, there's a good chance you'll still live into your 90s. That's nearly 4 decades of your money that needs to work for you so you don't run out of money. So think about your retirement accounts as your growth engines. Even after you retire, a portion of your investments will still be focused on growth. And at the same time, you'll need some money that's safe and accessible for your immediate expenses. That's the money that shouldn't be entirely invested in the stock market. Now, I don't know your particular situation, but the goal is creating different buckets with different jobs. Your short term money stays conservative so you can sleep at night, while your long term money keeps growing so you can live your best life for decades. Balancing both will be key. Mistake number three, missing the 50 plus catch up provisions. Here's something most people don't realize. If you're behind in saving for retirement and you now have the cash flow to save more, the IRS gives you a second chance after 50. Think of it as the IRS tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, we know life happens. Maybe you started a family right after college or you bought that home. So here's your opportunity to make up for lost time. I've seen clients completely transform the outlook of their retirement using these catch up provisions. So here's what they are. In 2025, if you are 50 plus, you can contribute an extra $7,500 on top of the standard 23,500 limit to your 401k. That's $31,000 total going toward your future. And for those of you between 60 and 63, that catch up amount jumps from 7,500 to $11,250. Even in your IRA, that can get a boost with an extra $1,000 you can put into those accounts. So let me put this in real perspective. One of my clients, a business owner who'd been pouring everything back into her company for years, used these catch up provisions and added nearly $300,000 to her retirement savings over just 8 years. That makes all the difference between worrying about money and enjoying the retirement you've worked so hard for. So if you have the cash flow to take advantage of these, don't leave this money on the table. It's literally thousands of extra dollars the government is allowing you to shelter from taxes while building your future security. Mistake number 4, carrying credit card debt. Not all debt is created equal. Let's take your mortgage as an example. That's helping you build equity and you can deduct the interest. But if you have credit card debt, that's like having a giant hole in your retirement boat, and you're taking on water faster than you can possibly bail. Let me walk you through an example I saw with a client last month. She had $7,000 on a credit card with a 20% interest rate. The minimum payment was $160 a month. That's $1,920 per year going toward that debt. But here's the crazy part. At that rate, she would end up paying almost $6,000 in interest alone. So think about that, nearly double the original balance just in interest. And it would take her 6 years and 8 months to finally be debt free. That's money that literally is just disappearing out of nowhere, cash that could have been growing in her retirement accounts, but instead going straight to the credit card company. So what did we do? We found a way for her to add an extra $100 per month to her payment, bumping it from 160 to 260. And that simple change reduced her interest by 57%. So instead of paying almost 6 grand in interest, she'll now pay only $2,400. And she'll be debt free 3 years earlier. I've sat with hundreds of retirees over the years, and I can tell you this. Those who enter retirement completely debt free, including their mortgage, have a totally different experience. There's a peace of mind that comes with true financial independence. Your goal should be to have no debt except maybe your mortgage by the time you retire. And once your high interest debts are gone and you're properly funding your retirement accounts, then you can focus on eliminating that mortgage too. There's nothing that gives you more freedom in retirement than knowing every dollar that comes in is truly yours and not going to some bank or credit card company. Mistake number 5, sacrificing your retirement for your kids' college education. Let me share something I've seen happen too many times in my practice. Parents in their 50s dipping into their retirement accounts or taking on massive loans for their children's education, only to find themselves working well into their 70s because they can't afford to stop. So here's the truth. You can borrow money for education, but you cannot borrow money for retirement. Now, I get it. If you're watching this and thinking, but my parents paid for my college and I want to do the same for my kids, I understand that emotional pull. If you've got the financial foundation to do this without compromising your future, fantastic, go for it. But if you're choosing between funding your retirement and paying tuition, this is where many families put their financial future at risk. I have 2 kids, they're only 7 and 9 right now, but when the time is right, they'll know if they want to go to college, they will have some skin in the game, just like I did. I graduated with loans, my parents did the best they could, and it worked and paid them off. So, in my opinion, rather than put loans in your name for your child's education, have your kids take loans in their names and help them with payments as much as you can. That way, it teaches financial responsibility while protecting the most vulnerable financial period of your life. Mistake number 6, overlooking your health when it's actually your biggest asset. This is something that breaks my heart, honestly, every time I see it happen. You work your entire life, right? All those late nights, those missed family dinners, those vacations you put off, all to build this amazing retirement nest egg. And then what happens? You finally hit retirement, and out of nowhere, a health issue comes up. And suddenly, all those dreams of traveling or spending time with grandkids are on hold or completely gone. The reality is, medical problems are the number one reason people retire earlier than planned and one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in America. That dream retirement account can evaporate faster than you'd believe when serious health issues enter the picture. So I'd highly recommend start treating your health as part of your financial plan. That gym membership is a retirement investment. That annual checkup, it's protecting your biggest asset. Those lifestyle changes your doctor's been recommending, they're literally preserving your ability to enjoy the money you're working so hard to save. This isn't always just about saving for retirement. You're saving for a retirement you're healthy enough to enjoy. Because what's the point of financial freedom if you don't have the health to make the most of it? Mistake number 7, letting your legacy documents collect dust. All right, let's talk about something most people completely ignore until it's too late. Here's my question for you. When's the last time you actually looked at your will or checked who's listed as beneficiaries on your accounts? I can't tell you how many times I've sat across from someone who says, "Oh, yeah, we set all that up when our daughter was 2 and I was 30. She's 22 now, and we haven't touched it since." Life moves fast, doesn't it? So, this isn't just paperwork we're talking about here. This is about making sure everything you worked for your entire life actually goes where you want it to go. I remember sitting with this client, we were reviewing her finances, and I asked about her life insurance beneficiaries. The look on her face when she realized her ex-husband from 8 years ago was still listed as primary beneficiary, I'll never forget. Meanwhile, her 2 daughters, who she adores, wouldn't have seen a penny if something had happened to her. Here's something that most people don't realize. Those beneficiary designations on your retirement accounts and life insurance, they override whatever's in your will. It doesn't matter what your will says if your beneficiary forms say something completely different. So do yourself and your family a huge favor. Put a reminder in your calendar to review these documents every couple of years. Life changes fast. Getting married, divorce, having kids, someone passes away, friendships that grow or fade. Make sure your paperwork keeps up with your life so your money ends up exactly where your heart wants it to go. And finally, mistake number 8, letting the market hijack your financial future. This is something that's derailed more retirement plans than almost anything I've seen over my 15 years doing this. Markets are going to crash. They always have, and they always will. But when you're in your 50s, the market swings hit differently, don't they? You've spent decades building up that nest egg. Then suddenly you log into your 401k portal online and see those bright red numbers. Your stomach drops, your heart races, and that voice in your head starts screaming, "Do something! Retirement is right around the corner." So I get it. I really do. Now, I'm not 50, but I've sat next to folks who are in that age group, helping them log on to their 401k account to review it and visually see their body language change when the account balance comes on screen. And then we get this urge that we need to do something when in reality, if this money is meant for retirement 3 or 5 years down the road and you have an investment strategy, the best decision is often to do nothing. Now, I don't know your specific situation again. I don't know how you're invested or when you want to retire. I do know that the people who suffer the biggest setbacks are those who make panic decisions at precisely the wrong times. So turn off those financial news alerts, stop checking your balance daily. If it's a real problem for you, work with someone who can help you create a plan because the market will always go up and down, but your retirement doesn't have to be. Now, if you're having a hard time filtering out all the noise, then watch this short video on why I'm not worried when stocks are falling. I break down why short term market drops are normal, why emotional investing is a mistake, and how long term investors stay ahead. So click here to watch, and I'll see you over there.